Sophie, I'm 24 years old, I'm from London, and I was living in LA for a bit, but now I live in Austin with my best friend Kay for the last 2 months. To put Rob's cheating behind me, but shortly after I moved to Austin, I saw that he had got this text from some random girl. So, and that's how I found out that he was actually talking to, like, way more girls than he had admitted to. So he lied to me about the extent of his online cheating.
We are still here. We are still here with the same storyline of Rob cheating. You know, I thought maybe that they would have moved on and maybe, you know, we would have been into something new, but nah, we're in the same position that we left off at. It's been a few months and legit, they're not even together this moment in time. What a way to start your marriage. But hey, did I see this coming? I mean, listen, I saw them having a conflict coming 100%, but her, you know, moving away for 2 months or whatever, that, not necessarily because she didn't know anyone at the time in the States, you see what I'm saying? If anything, I wouldn't have been surprised if it was a case of where she took a flight back to the UK and then also, and therefore took a break from Rob. But of course, that wasn't necessarily the case. But here's the thing though, if Sophie's going to continuously want to be Rob, she's going to have to get over her BS. And I say her BS because she's the one that chose to be with him, despite the fact that she knew that he was obviously being unloyal behind her back. Now, here's the thing. Once you find that somebody's been unloyal to your back, you got a choice. It's either you stay or you leave. If you choose to stay, well then stay and then act accordingly, rather than stay and then continue to be a headache for yourself. You see what I'm saying? Because in that situation, you're only giving yourself a headache, you're only stressing yourself out. And that is just the grand scheme of it. Because when you do that, well then that means you should have done the opposite thing. And the opposite thing should have been, well, you know what? I should have left. And Sophie should have just flat out left, and that's that. But listen, before we get into the rest of the nitty and gritty of exactly what went down in the first episode of Happily Ever After with Rob and Sophie, we are on the road to 60k. But right now, we have been disappointing, okay? We're trying to get to 60k by the end of April. But so far, it's been 18 days into March and we've only got to 1k extra since we hit 50k. Wow, we're moving slow. So therefore, all those new people that are coming here watching the video, the reason why you was recommended is because you're here to subscribe, okay? You're here to watch the video for free and also subscribe for free. Come on now, let's not mess about. And of course, everybody else, please do like the video and comment as always to help us with the YouTube algorithm. And generally like the video because you like it, you know what I mean? But with that being said, let's continue to see what else went down with Rob and Sophie.
Honest, I am thinking that, are you this girl? Like, are y'all in a relationship? I mean, she said she was bisexual, but she had never.
Wait, Kay or Sophie? Sophie.
And honestly, I feel like.
Wait, you gotta rewind. When did you find this out? Is in love with Kay, and obviously we don't know, right?
Bro, she's in love with Kay. She's.
We don't know, but it sounds like your wife is sleeping with somebody else.
I mean, listen, when it's explained like that, it does feel like as if maybe she's left him to go and do a madness with Kay. You know what I mean? I can imagine how they can come across like that, you see what I'm saying? But hey, obviously that wasn't necessarily the case. But hey, But this is another thing though. He found out late into their relationship, quite close to when they were going to get married, that she was bi. And that's information that, you know, someone really should have told him at the very beginning. But he...
Hey, I don't want you with him. I think he's mean to you. I don't like him. He's definitely not good enough for you.
Growing up, I didn't have a very stable childhood. My dad wasn't around and my mom struggled with substance abuse.
I'm not going to lie, this is going to sound a bit harsh. Actually, the first things first, the mum needs to get over this whole anti-Rob thing. Your daughter's choosing to want to be with him, so therefore you just have to get on board. You know, and the mum needs to stop blaming Rob for Sophie's unhappiness, because Sophie's the one that is actively choosing to stay in a relationship with Rob. So therefore, this is all on Sophie and nothing else but that. But let's talk about the substance abuse. Abuse. Now, this is gonna sound wild. When I heard this, I was like, I freaking knew it. And the reason it was crazy is because somebody's asked me before, hey, like, why is her face like that? Like, what's up with the lips and the nose? And I said, well, there is one actor that I knew of, okay, on a TV show called EastEnders. Some of you may have heard of it. She was on it, right? And I believe her name was Danielle. And I remember seeing it on Jeremy Kyle, before Jeremy Kyle ended, just another TV show in the UK. And her face went from, you know, the separation from the nose and the mouth being how it was by birth. But then after some time, it started to get closer and closer like this. And the reason why was because she had gone on a whole, you know, hiatus of sniffing. Do you see what I'm saying? And because she was sniffing so much, I guess there's something within the drug that after a while it starts to affect your face, and therefore your face will start to obviously deform in some type of way. So when I first saw Sophie's mom's face, I was like, I'm convinced that she's been on 100% because of her face. So when Sophie finally said it, I was like, I freaking knew it. But it's kind of bad because, you know, you don't really want to be right that somebody was obviously on the drugs. But this also elaborates to another point. Somebody did ask me before in the comment section, hey, did Sophie really come from a wealthy background? Is her mum really da-da-da? And I said, personally, I don't think that was the case. I just think that Sophie's somebody that, well, but this is kind of strange, but I kind of felt as if Sophie was just princessed the whole life by her mother, which clearly was never the case, because Sophie's now come out information that she basically had to raise herself and basically pretty much had to raise her mother because her mum was always off doing a madness, right? I'm gonna leave it there. I kind of lost my point, but anyway, let's go.
Because of that, I definitely had plans for my future with Rob to have like a happy home and a safe home and not like the one I was kind of brought up in. And I think that's what makes it so hard to walk away.
I will say this though, isn't it funny like how the parents who screwed up the most when they're younger then become the most overprotective parents when they're older because they're trying to make up for time. It's not always the case necessarily, but I'm just saying if you go back to who else's mum did we have on the show before? Brandon, yes, Brandon and Mary. Brandon's mum done a whole madness, and then obviously now she's come back in, and now she's trying to, you know, act like a freaking angel, like a freaking angel. Do you see what I'm saying? So it is quite interesting how some parents can mess up really, really bad, and when they get older, they then try to really, you know. And I get it. I get what Sophie's mum's trying to do, but she's doing too much. She needs to humble herself.
You know, it's at home.
What?
Your wedding ring.
I knew you had it. I knew it.
You know why I have it?
Oh my.
Take it. You just
Yes,
know
you
that
did. Oh my God,
I did not
I'm
take it.
relieved because I thought I was terrible and lost.
it's not on.
You don't have your ring on. Everyone thinks you're a single guy in Austin living your life.
Walking around
You
with a
do
wedding
look
ring.
stupid, a married man without the ring.
You know what's crazy is that I have friends who have never met my wife.
You don't know my friends.
All right, this one's a bit of a sticky one. Should Sophie be upset with the fact that Rob is not wearing his wedding ring? Well, here's the thing. Sophie didn't even have her wedding ring on her the whole time. She's, oh yeah, I knew you had it. But the thing is though, she said that she also thought that she may have lost it. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, right, if Rob has your wedding ring, but he doesn't know why you've left it behind and why you haven't even asked him where it's at, is he in a position where he can then assume that your relationship is done and dusted, like that you don't care anymore? I feel like he's warranted to have that thought. I'm not saying it's a thought that he had, but I'm just saying that if she's not been wearing her wedding ring this whole time, and he's obviously known about it, then should he be wearing his wedding ring? I mean, listen, this is, like I said, it's one of them sticky situations, isn't it? I would say that if Rob knows that he still wants Sophie back, he still wants to win her back, then 100% you continue wearing that ring. You know what I mean? Until you know for sure your relationship is done. Now, of course, they have been separate for a few months, and I feel like a few months sometimes can definitely let you know that, you know what, the relationship is done and dusted. But either way, though, like I said, it's a bit of a sticky one. I just think that Sophie doesn't necessarily have a leg to stand on when it comes to Rob not wearing his ring. But also at the same time, I also think Rob should have only taken off his ring only if he thought that the relationship was now completely out of the water. Do you see what I'm saying? So it really depends on how you want to look at it.
Lied about the online cheating multiple times.
No, that's not true.
It is true.
not
It is true.
I didn't want to tell you, oh, I've had some small conversations
You
with
should
women over
have.
the
You
years.
should have. You should have been honest.
Apologizing for all these things. You won't let it go.
Because it's so frustrating to someone to hurt you so bad and just downplay it.
You know what though? I feel like Sophie needs to kind of really have a conversation with herself. I just feel like because of her upbringing, her choices are a bit flawed. You know, I feel like she'll make a choice for certain things, but then at the same time, she doesn't know whether it's the right choice or not. You know what I mean? Because she wasn't really guided. And I say that because you see, here's the thing: if she had to spend a lot of time looking after her mum and all that kind of stuff, you know, she probably comes from a place of a certain level of abandonment. You know what I mean? She probably has a certain level of abandonment issues. So maybe that's why she struggles to leave Rob. She's struggling to leave Rob, so she wants to stay with him, but then staying with him is hard for her because she knows that she should leave him. So she's going back and forth with herself because she hasn't come to terms with herself that this relationship just is not for her anymore. That Rob is basically broken and opened up that trauma of where she's got those abandonment issues, you see what I'm saying? So that's why she obviously needs to bounce, but she's not going to do that because she's thinking, well, I don't want to abandon him the way I've always been abandoned. I want to stick around and look after him the same way that I've always looked after my mum. But at the same time, I don't want to do it because my mum was still doing this madness and it was hurting my heart, but I still stuck around for her. But even though Rob is now hurting my heart, I don't want to just give up on him. I want to stick around for him the way I did for my mum. But I know that really and truly, my mum didn't do right by me. And also at the same time, Rob isn't doing right by me. So really and truly, I should just leave him rather than put up with what I'm used to putting up with. And that's just BS. So again, everything that Sophie's going through right now, it's obviously something that stems from her childhood. But at the same time, though, she has to recognize this, because if she doesn't recognize this, she's going to continue self-inflicting hurt on herself unintentionally by being with Rob, knowing that he's not the one that is actually for her because of this part of where he's broken the trust, a trust that he's never going to gain again because of the trauma she has, and rightly so. But nonetheless, though, let me know what you're thinking down below and we'll talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.